Hi, I'm Joe. This is my left-hand dog, Adira. I work in a country where we have limited resources as compared to places like Europe or North America. So I want to do a series of videos on working with equipment where you don't have the resources to go and repair it the way you would like to or the way you need to. So it's not junk repairs, but repairs that'll get you by and get it working and as safe as we can make it. Safety is a factor involved in these repairs. I've got a 12-volt battery here. My son brought it to me, had no charge, it had no water in it. I put distilled water in yesterday, important to use distilled. So I let it sit overnight to help it soak. Now we're going to charge it. But to use an ordinary charger on this is not going to work because the resistance in the battery cells is too high. That is, we're going to use a higher voltage. How are we going to use a higher voltage? That's about 700 watts roughly at 80 volts. So DC will arc like crazy, and that's a problem with DC. Now, if I do a voltage reading on my battery, I'm showing 0.95 volts. That ain't a lot to write home about. In fact, that's nothing to write home about. I've got a battery tester here, and we can put this baby on there. And it's showing a really low voltage here, and I'm going to test it. I'm getting 4 volts. I don't know why I got such a difference on the other, but I'm showing 0.4 volt. It ain't anything to write home about either. So we got basically no charge at all in it. I'm going to connect up the solar panels. Black is my negative. Get that on there a little better. Sure we will. It's one of the problems with... There we go. Old twist lock. This will be my positive. I've already determined which leads are what on the wires. And now we're going to connect up our leads here. Positive to there. Let's get a little better spring tension. Negative to here. This is the positive terminal. This is the negative terminal. Ooh, and we have some, you heard that bit of a spark. It's important when charging a battery. This battery was at 0, but a battery when charging will produce hydrogen gas. Extremely flammable. So sometimes you can have a battery blow up because there's a lot of gas being produced here. You get a spark here, travels back, and you get an explosion. You got gas, water, acid everywhere. So right now, we're going from 80 volts in full sunlight to the load on the battery. We're down at 21 volts. If you look from the top down and you look inside the cells, you can see bubbles. That's indicating of the charge. I'm going to monitor this, and we're going to come back to this later. I'm going to monitor this battery. I'm going to keep feeling it for...
Adira, come here.
Yeah, my helper. Not too helpful. But we're going to feel it for temperature. Because the important thing is here is that we're not going to boil the battery out. Right now what's happening is it's charging away like crazy, which is really, really good. And I'm really liking that. So this should be a fairly easy one to charge. I've taken dead batteries and brought them back to life this way. Possibly to about 80-90% of their capacity. Which was a lot more than 0% otherwise. So we'll get back later on this. The bubbles in these cells here, not as much in the center cells, and I'm a little concerned that maybe the plates are warped there. We've got charging going on happening there like crazy. Remember, I believe it was around 21 volts before being dropped across it. Now it's 17 volts being dropped across it, which is telling me that it is accepting charge. The internal resistance is lowering. What we're going to do here right now is I'm going to disconnect it up above here because I do not want an explosion down below. So we're going to disconnect it up here. We're going to have a bit of an arc. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be surprised. It's going to happen. Yeah, right, get the wires apart now. Sure we are. There, you saw that little bit of an arc, right? Just what I told you. So The bubbling is slowing down and stopping because there's no charging happening. I'm going to put the load tester on here right now. Just going to clamp it on. Oh, let me back up a bit here. First, what's our battery voltage right now? Okay, battery says, well, it says 12.59 volts. Do I believe that? I'm not sure. It could be that voltage, but how much energy does it actually have stored inside on the old charge? Okay. Well, it's up in the good zone there, but let's put a load on it and see what happens. Okay, whereas before it was down here in very, very weak in the bad zone, it's actually holding a charge. It's dropping down a bit slowly. So this battery actually is coming back to life a bit. This is getting hot. The load is working. So we're going to put it for about another hour. I'm going to take this off. And put it for about another hour. Test the temperature of the battery. You could get a thermometer of whatever gauge or type you want. The back of your hand is more sensitive to heat than your palm is. So just put your hand like roughly like that and just slowly bring it towards, and you can feel how hot the battery is. What we do not want is so much energy to go into that battery that it causes it to boil like crazy and then boil itself dry. That's what we're trying to make sure that we don't have happen also. Whoa, nice arc. That was not on purpose. Okay, so it's going to start charging again. We're going to give it another hour. Some of the cells are, when I first started with this, I did notice there was a lot of like a white coating in there, which may be the sulfur oxide on it. So it is slowly regaining its life, and that's a good thing. We can get another hour and see where we go. This could get you out of a mess. It's not going to be 100% cure, 100% fix. It could get you out of a mess. So I just want to stress a couple of things. One is, this is, always try to be as safe as you can. This is working with gas, voltages, and dogs. So you got to watch on all three. Also, I'm in a limited resource type of culture and country. So the idea behind this is to show that you do have some alternatives to problems that you have. This isn't by far the most perfect solution, but it's a solution to help you along. So let's do a voltage check across the battery again. 20 volts and my meter turned off. There we go. Let's do this again. So I'm showing 15 volts across this battery. Ideally, I should see all the cells bubbling away like that. I do have a problem, and there is a problem in these three cells right here. So this battery is, going to be kind of okay. It's not absolutely perfect, but for what we need to show, we're doing okay. I'm going to disconnect the power. And we'll have an arc. There we go. And let's do a load test. And what this is this is a voltmeter, and it's got a resistor inside that handles the power. So I'm going to click this on there, and my voltage is showing that we are at, so we're up at around 13 volts. Not bad when you consider we started at basically down around 4. So okay, it's dropping in voltage a bit, and that's normal. But I'm going to put a load on it now. So it's at the lower range of being good. I'm going to leave this sit on here for a little while longer, but for all intents and purposes, for what the person who wanted this battery, it'll be good enough for what they want to do, which is just give them an alternative voltage source for a bit. That's it.